Listen to the recording and write down the numbers in the correct column.
When you travel to Britain by sea or air, it is likely that you will arrive in the southeast. There are two main airports in the London area. One is Heathrow Airport. The other is Gatwick. Heathrow is the world's busiest airport for international traffic. It is about 20 miles outside of London. It's located about 33 kilometers west of central London. It has around 28 million passengers per year. Gatwick is the second major airport. It's about 30 miles, or 50 kilometers to the south of London. It has about 10 million passengers per year. Have you got all the numbers? I'll repeat it. Heathrow is the world's busiest airport for international traffic. It is about 20 miles outside of London. It's located about 33 kilometers west of central London. It has around 28 million passengers per year. Gatwick is the second major airport. It's about 30 miles, or 50 kilometers to the south of London. It has about 10 million passengers per year.
First, you will have some time to look at questions 1 to 7. Pause recording for 30 seconds. Now listen carefully and answer questions 1 to 7.
Hello, Mr. Prestwick. Please take a seat. So you're interested in opening a student account with us?
Yes, that's right. You were recommended as the best option in the Student Union Gazette.
Thank you. That's good to know. We're pleased to say that just over 2/3 of your fellow students bank with us. Now, let's get down to looking at some of the details on the form you sent us. Now, you said here that you wanted to open a student account, but you might also want to keep in mind other more long-term ones. Perhaps it's not terribly relevant right now, but you may have noticed that we offer highly competitive interest rates on longer-term investments.
Yeah, I looked at that briefly, but I'm on a tight budget at the moment, and I might even need to go overdrawn at some point. Can I do that?
Yes, you can borrow up to £250 without paying interest. It's all in the leaflet which accompanies the form.
I'm afraid I haven't had much time to read it, what with moving house and keeping up with the coursework.
Well, there's a minimum charge of 0.5% interest per annum on the amount you borrow, up to the sum of £1,000, which is favourable in comparison to rates in other banks, and then it increases to 1.6% if you exceed this limit. Naturally, you would have to talk with us before you reach that point.
That sounds fair. Just going back to those other accounts, how do they differ?
Basically, they are all savings accounts, which means you won't be able to withdraw your money without a penalty. But the longer you keep your money in, the more interest we offer. The main three accounts are the short-term saver, which lasts for a year and earns you 2.75% per annum. The next one is the 2-year medium-term saver at a yearly rate of 3.7%. And lastly, if you can leave your money in for 5 years, you get back our highest rate of 4.15%. That's our long-term option.
I'll remember that for future reference when I've got enough money to save.
Right now, I noticed that we have a few gaps in our information.
Yeah, that's because I couldn't find the right documents at the time. I'd just moved house, you see. But I've listed all the relevant numbers here.
Good. Let's start with your national insurance number.
Do you want me to read it out for you? My writing isn't very clear.
Yes, go ahead.
It's PL 348600H.
I've got that. And do you have an ID, like a driver's licence or a passport?
Yes, my passport.
Could you read out the number, please?
Sure, it's 943002939.
Good. We've finished that section. So, let's move on to the next one, shall we? It says here that you're making a deposit of £855 to begin with. Is that right?
Yeah, I'm transferring it from my other account for Young Savers. Oh, by the way, I want to keep that one open because my dad pays money into it. All my sponsorship money will be paid into my student account.
Any idea how much?
Not yet, but I should know by Friday.
That's fine, but I'll need the number of your other account.
Here it is. 563-06672.
Right, that seems to be almost everything. The only thing that's missing now is your phone number.
Okay, it's 258476.
Is that a local number?
Yeah, that's right.
Thank you very much, Mr. Presswick. We'll be sending you your new debit card through the post in the next 5 working days. Now, have you got any more questions?
You will hear about passenger traffic at Britain's main airports from 1990 to 1993. Listen to the tape and write down the figures in the correct column.
Manchester Airport is the third largest airport in Britain. In 1990, it handled about 10.1 million passengers, and in 1993, the number of passengers increased to 13.1 million. In 1990, Glasgow Airport handled 3.9 million passengers, and in 1993, the number of passengers had risen sharply to 5.2 million. Birmingham handled 3.5 million passengers in 1990, and in 1993 the number of passengers was 4.2 million, not a big change. At Edinburgh Airport, the number of passengers was 2,005,000 in 1990. But 1993 it handled about 2,009,000 passengers. At Newcastle Airport, the number of passengers were 1,006,000 in 1990. In 1993, this airport handled 2,001,000 passengers. In 1990, Bristol Airport handled 8,000 passengers. In 1993, the number of passengers had increased to 1,001,000. Now listen to the report on consumers' expenditure in 1983 and 1993 at market prices and write down the percentage in the correct column. The percentage of household expenditure on food decreased slightly from 15.1% in 1983 to 11.4% in 1993. Alcoholic drink was 7.1% in 1983, but fell to 6% in 1993. And tobacco was 3.3% in 1983, but only 2.7% in 1993. The percentage on housing increased slightly from 15.1% in 1983 to 15.4% in 1993. And recreation, entertainment, and education was 9.2% in 1983, then increased to 10.1% in 1993. The percentage of consumers' expenditure on other goods and services showed a large jump from 13.5% in 1983 to 19.4% in 1993.